Hi, I'm Fauzia Hafida, and I'm an undergrad student in Universitas Indonesia studying industrial engineering. And recently, I was part of the Indonesian International Student Mobility Award, going to University of Pennsylvania in the United States. I'm enrolled in the School of Arts and Science there, studying different courses ranging from business to pure math. And behind me is a picture of my favorite building in University of Pennsylvania, which is the Fisher Fine Art Library. And I love it because it has a beautiful architecture and has like Hogwarts vibe to it. And I first heard about IISMA from my parents, but later I also heard it from my university and decided to join and try my luck. There were so many administration constraints along the way when applying for this program, partly because it is the first time the program exists and my university and faculty had to adjust to the sudden abrupt changes. Other than that, most of it is just me trying my best to reflect on my part when writing the essays on what is really my purpose on joining this. Other technical things that I prepared is English certifications, and I do it through a Duolingo test. And I also practice some interview questions that might arise during the interview. I think in hindsight, the biggest problem I found throughout the application process is the bureaucratic process, bureaucratic aspect of it that hampers some of my other friends on applying, on completing the application journey. And at the end of the day, I will say that I was lucky that I made it to the end. When I arrived to the United States on my first day, I was able to travel around the city in Philadelphia since there was no quarantine mandate. My first impression of the city is just, it looks like it came out from a movie. When I go outside of the nicer area, I found a bigger reality that the city of Philadelphia is facing is that it also has its own problem, such as the infrastructure inequality in a more marginalized area. But the University of Pennsylvania itself is like being in a dream. Walking down the famous Locust Walk and seeing the old architecture was the highlight of my first day there. The biggest culture I'll say that I felt is how efficient and systematic. We checked into our dorm at 1 a.m. in the morning, but the front desk was also able to process everything so quickly. And this is also when I'm faced with other administration tasks around. Another, I guess, culture difference. No, another, I guess, adaptation adjustment I have to make. There is, as a foodie, as someone that likes trying new foods, it was harder to navigate the food scenes there since I have a dietary constraint and I can only eat halal food. And also, food are more expensive there compared to Indonesia. In the academic side of it, when I choose the courses, I guess my biggest consideration is if it's transferable to my home university or not. And in after I enrolled in the class, I attend the lectures. What I felt is that the lectures are very different. Is that most of them use Socratic method, where we learn through discussion with the students and the professor is just there to facilitate us. And instead of like learning textbook knowledges, we're forced to criticize concepts and dig deeper into them, and also build on each other opinions on certain topics that we discuss in class. The biggest habit changes that I adapted on my time there is that I pick up more in class and has the what do you call that? I became more brave and like voicing my opinion, and while also able to develop a listening skill on listening to other people opinion and how to build up upon it. In terms of difficulty I'm facing, especially during exam weeks, is that I think most of them came because I have a hard time recognizing that I'm struggling in that class and this and make the first move to actually seek help. And if I can go back through time, I think what I would change that I would definitely try to recognize that I'm at class and I would seek help from my professors or other fellow classmates. And outside of academic, I'm involved with an Indonesian organization where, as a committee, we conduct an Indonesian festival at Penn. And outside of that, I was also part of a committee in an interfaith organization. I also joined some volunteering programs and helped as a crew during one musical production. And I guess as a reflection, like if I have the chance to do my experience all over again is that first I will pick the courses there at Penn that I really want to take about I really want to take instead of just it being transferable to my home university, and making sure that like the difficulty of the courses is something that I realistically can pass through. I also wish I joined a sport team at my time there, like I was in high school. The biggest discovery throughout my ISMA program is I feel like how Indonesian students are actually as smart as students here at Penn, which is an Ivy League institution. And I think what makes up the gap is mostly systematic, such as how the teaching method and culture hampers in-depth discussions in class that might actually lead to higher understanding and innovations. And I think resources also plays a big role in making sure students are able to maximize their undergrad times in university. And for example, Penn gives such an abundant resources in terms of like mental health facilities and also financial and even nutrition needs. Even though there's always room for improvement, definitely. Okay, next is like I feel like the most memorable moments at Penn is the moments where I able to like interact with people, like from working together in clubs or class projects, or traveling with other fellow ISMA students. I met new people along the way. I feel like those are the valuable things. Um, and I'm glad that I have them in my life and have the chance to keep in touch with them in the future. In terms of improvements I would like to see in my home university is basically the systemic changes that I mentioned before. I wish that my university will focus on funneling more resources and funding for students that the students actually need, and also perhaps change the learning culture in class. I hope to contribute small changes through actively participating in class and help create a collaborative atmosphere with other fellow students inside or outside of class. I feel like I'm still sticking to my initial commitment for ISMA, which is helping interested individuals to prepare for ISMA programs, while also at the same time giving feedback to ISMA on how to improve the program from here on. And I would say that I'm officially ISMA biased because it is sometimes hard to see that there's other realities other than the status quo when everybody tell you to stick to things, you know. Going halfway across the globe and see how things can be different really helps you see that changes can happen and that it can start with you. Take the first step, y'all. Be bold to go abroad.